Hi, this is Brandon from Watches on You. Today we're taking a look at the Nomos Neomatic Club Sport 42 date. And first I'd like to remind you that we're at JB Hudson Jewelers in Minneapolis, Minnesota, who have lent us this watch for the purposes of this review. They're an authorized retailer of Nomos and many other premium brands. So an additional reminder that I'll have is I'll be leaving linked in the description to the JB Hudson website, as well as the website to our personal channel store where we've listed our favorite watches and watch accessories for sale. So let's jump into this review. So as I said, this is the Nomos Neomatic Club Sport 42 date. Now, what is so significant about this piece is that it has a water resistance that I would argue is disproportionate to the style of this watch. So the water resistance on this watch is 1,000 feet or 300 meters. That is huge compared to most other watches that are kind of in the style category. And what I mean by that is sort of more dressy watches, which Nomos tends to have. But this is definitely a sports watch. Now, they say it's suitable for diving, but as you can see, it does not have a diver's bezel. Now, I would challenge Nomos to make a watch with a diver's bezel in their signature style. I think that that would kind of shake up the market a little bit, and it could have a really unique look. But this watch is unique as well. I really love the design of the piece. I think it kind of harkens back to early sports watches, kind of from the 50s. But again, combines that with more of a Bauhaus style. So I think that that's a really unique feature of this piece with regard to the water resistance. So moving into the overall case, it's got a 42 millimeter case, and I would argue that that's a little bit, it kind of wears a little bit larger than 42 millimeters. When I get into a wrist shot in a little bit, I will demonstrate that for you guys, but it wears a little bit larger than a 42 millimeters, which is actually fine for a sports watch. But again, I typically like to see watches around 40 millimeters. So getting into some of the more unique features of this watch with regard to functionality, it has the Nomos date mechanism in the movement. And what's significant about that is that you can actually set the date in either direction. So it's a quick set date, but as you can see, I'm in the clockwise direction, and then in the counterclockwise direction, you can actually set the date as well. So that's actually kind of a unique feature. An additional unique feature of this piece, and it kind of relates back to that water resistance, is the fact that it has a winding crown, or a screw down crown, sorry. And as you can see, when it's screwed down, you can't see the red, but then when it's screwed out in the winding position, you can see that red. And depending on what crown position, I'll move it into the date setting position, you can see that red kind of, there's like a gray that goes next to the red. So you can use that in order to determine what position the watch is in, and that's kind of a unique, useful feature. So getting into the movement of this piece, it has, Nomos's legendary styling. You can see, it is absolutely beautiful. You have both Perlage and Cote de Genève, and it definitely is kind of a cut above what you typically would see at this price point. I would say it's comparable in quality to JLC, maybe even slightly better with regard to their kind of less expensive models like this. You'd find used around this price point. So that's definitely high praise on Nomos's part. And really, I've noticed that a lot of German brands, Lange & Söhne, Glashütte Original, and Nomos, and obviously Nomos is from Glashütte as well, they have some of the best finishing on the market. It really is a cut above many of their Swiss counterparts, and I really appreciate that Nomos decided to include that on this piece, even though it is of kind of a lower price point. It's not low, obviously, in the scheme of watches at $4,060, but again, it really is a cut above what you would see typically at this price point. That's totally high praise for Nomos. So getting into the bracelet of this piece, Nomos recently started including steel bracelets on many of their watches. This bracelet is obviously steel as well, and it kind of has a little bit of a 70s kind of feel to it. With regard to the quality of the bracelet, the links I really like. They're extremely high quality. The deployment clasp I think could be improved. It is of the kind of pressed metal variety that you get on a lot of kind of lower end Seikos, and I think that if in a future watch, if they decided to improve this, I think that they could make it more of the style of an Omega clasp, where it's more solid. In my opinion, Omega has the best clasps on the market. I know you could make the argument that Rolex has better clasps, but I actually prefer Omegas to that. My brother disagrees with that highly, but I really do like the Omega clasps. So, but all in all, I think it's totally fine when you consider the overall quality of the finishing you're getting on this piece anyways. So now I'll move on to a wrist shot of this piece. So the 42 millimeter case size, it's not going to look huge on anyone's wrist, but I do think it wears slightly larger than most other 42 millimeter watches. So that is something really to consider. You could definitely wear this watch with a suit. It is by no means extremely thick. It actually looks like it would be thicker than it is online. So that is something also that you guys need to consider. It is a thin watch. It would fit under a suit cuff or a shirt cuff. I think that it would look very nice actually with a suit, and particularly on more of a leather style strap that's a little bit less sporty, but I think this watch could be an excellent addition to your collection as a dress watch. So if you like this video, please remember to like, subscribe, and share. And remember, if you do subscribe, hit the notification bell. Otherwise, you're not going to get notifications of all of our latest videos, which we regularly upload. We're trying to increase kind of our output lately, so you definitely want to stay on top of those with regard to any new videos that get launched. So if you like this video, please remember to like, subscribe, and share. Thank you.